At the epicenter of the MAGA movement is a deep moral failure among all of the triple Trumpers. And you have to realize, for somebody to see this man and say he cares about family values, yet he is a man that has been married 3 different times, 3 different baby mamas, 5 different kids. He treats women like shit. He's an adjudicated sexual offender. And in the MAGA party, you might remember in Trump 1.0, he endorsed a man who was a pedo in Alabama for Senate. And all of these QAnon people that are so against pedophilia, which for the record, all decent people are against that. Yet this party either endorses sex offenders or they themselves are child sex offenders. And the first example is Republican South Carolina State Representative, father, and husband Robert John May III has been arrested for distributing over 200 child porn files under the username Joe Biden. So here we have Republican political leader trying to, of course, disparage Joe Biden because that's all they've got. And he's distributed over 200 child porn images. And these images are as sick and as vile as you could ever imagine.
Well, I look at Trump and his followers. I look at the January 6thers. Some of those people that Trump pardoned had pornography or crimes against children involving sex. And then I also look at how the evangelicals voted for Trump over 90%. And you see in every religious makeup, the Southern Baptist, the Nazarenes, the Catholic, sexual crimes against children. So something about these two things, the mindset involving religion and Trumpism, they have to go together. It's just data.
Well, and this whole purity culture that America has, like you have all of these Americans that will just lose their mind if they're watching a film and they see a naked woman or a naked man. And then they'll watch war films and all of this brutality, and they think nothing of it. And so in these religions, their sole purpose is to make sure women are virgins before they're married and to make sure that nobody's gay. And so when you suppress something that we're hardwired to do, which is to reproduce and be sexual creatures, you have all this fuckery that abounds. And it turns out that this guy, this Robert John May III, he was the Moms for Liberty Legislator of the Year, arrested for massive child pornography charges. And on this image, listener, there's a picture of him with the Moms for Liberty devils, little demons that these women are. And above it, it says, "Will you join us in protecting children?" And Donald Trump right now, the sitting president of the United States, retruths, or should I say relies, all of this QAnon stuff on his social media platform all the time. You would think that corporate media would open up their news with this. The man who is trafficking in conspiracy theories is now considering war plans against Iran. A man who simulated giving a microphone a blowjob is now talking about war plans with Iran. A man who endorses pedophiles and seems to be at the epicenter of the Jeffrey Epstein case is now discussing war plans with Iran. But when it gets to Trump, the mainstream media comes to the news desk and they sit down and they give him the affirmative action of sanity that all of the other presidents before him kind of had. And then they just start talking about it like it's normal. And at the epicenter of this political party are broken people, racist, misogynist, pedophiles, breathtaking religious hypocrites. And these people, if you see them socially, they might be nice. They might be nice to their pet. But this is the cancer in this country that will outlive Trumpism. This is the cancer, these groups of people and this moral duplicity that they have that will outlive Trumpism, that will prevent our allies, should democracy prevail. It will prevent them from wanting to partner with us because a large percentage of the American electorate just thumbs their nose at this and they think, oh, well, his username was Joe Biden. Joe Biden must have had something to do with it.
Well, their whole entire movement is based on we are better than you. You have to do what we say because we're better than you. We're white men. And I look at Trump's administration, Pete Hegseth. Then I just jump over to Mike Johnson. And let's not forget his mentor, the person who he was going to be the dean of the law school, also had pedophilia issues. It is everywhere. You cannot take it away. And on top of that, I think you make such a good point about everyone acts like, well, Trump is the president. He's going to make a decision on Iran. Trump slurs his words, like you said, gave the microphone a blowjob. He's obsessed with his poll numbers. All he does is watch Fox News. Repeatedly, it's reported he does not care about national intelligence. He does not care about the United States of America, its military, or its citizens. So let's start from that point. What is the best move for Donald Trump? Because he is transactional. We saw that in the Middle East. So that's when the media needs to start. What is best for Trump in this situation? And then move on from that point because he doesn't give a shit.
Because Trump is not strategic.
No.
He is impulsive. This is an impulsive man that is such a malignant narcissist that he cannot see or does he even have in his constitution anywhere, like what is the best for the country? He is a compulsive liar that lies to American working class. But here's something that just bothers me so immensely about the electorate that's going to remain after Trump. Let's take a look at Latinos for Trump all over the internet right now. And they're doing all this salsa dancing. And a lot of them were married to men, or they themselves had shaky immigration status. And there's something about Trump that triggers in people to either hate something they're not. If you're white, then you would hate a brown immigrant. But if you're an immigrant, to hate other immigrants. And this is something that is just, I guess it's the personality cult aspect of it, but his ability to make nearly everyone that votes for him a worse person. And to arrive at that position to vote for him for the first time, you've got some moral compromise. But to triple down on it and vote against your own community is something that's breathtaking. And if you look at the guy who's running the Kennedy Center right now, this Richard Grinnell, I saw a clip of him online talking about normal gays, because this man is gay. And he says, normal gays aren't the problem. And he was trying to categorize gayness and basically saying that, he's just gay enough. And I see this in Oklahoma with older gay people that are our age that have lived around a bunch of homophobes. They'll say something like, yeah, but I'm gay, but I don't go to any of that pride stuff. And it makes me so sad because they feel like with their friends that are a part of this MAGA movement or a part of the Republican movement or a part of this Christian nationalist evangelical movement, they feel like if they less gay themselves up, that they'll be accepted by the patriarchy. And that's really heartbreaking to see people within a marginalized community that don't have the wherewithal to realize, listen up, Richard Grinnell, at the end of the day, when Trump is gone and if their fascist takeover if it takes hold, you think the people at Project 2025 who put in a Christian nationalist government are going to care that you're just a little bit less gay than maybe somebody who you deem to be, totally a flamer, that you want to categorize gayness, which is just, it's so insane, the self-loathing that exists within the MAGA movement. And like this guy, he was Moms for Liberty of the Year, while he is sending out horrific porn. But it doesn't stop there. Here's another MAGA groomer. A famous MAGA influencer and frequent Fox News guest, Richie Wyn, has been arrested and charged with sex trafficking and producing child sex abuse material with at least 2 minors. And you guys, we could do weekend episodes about MAGA and how many people have committed sex crimes, we could start now and not end for a couple of years. That's how bad this is in the MAGA movement.
It's stunning. And it's stunning that all of these things that these people do, like let's just take Nate Robinson, who ran for governor in.
Oh, totally.
Right. He's a perfect example. Trump never came out against him. He quit appearing with him, but he didn't come out against him. And what used to be disqualifying in every party, in the moral fiber of the United States, that no longer exists because we were able to elect a convicted felon with adjudicated rape on his record. Women came forward. He defamed women regarding their claims of sexual abuse. Then you've got Pete Hegseth. It's unbelievable to me that not only has the MAGA movement emboldened these people, that it is no longer disqualifying among the rest of the group what they're doing, although they're standing up there holding their Bibles.
You know, there is this whole thing that they're doing, the normalization of the militarization in the streets of the United States, not obeying courts, openly talking about that the executive branch should have more power than the other two branches. And I think there's a normalization of this. Trump in 1.0, there was that Senate race in Alabama, and he endorsed a child sex offender. He endorsed him to be in the United States Senate. So there was a normalization that started about a decade ago with Trump endorsing a pedophile in the state of Alabama. And now you see in state legislatures, they are trying to lower the age of consent. Yes. And you have state politicians that talk about the age of consent. And there was one video I saw where some guy was talking about marrying cousins and all this crazy shit. Well, so they're normalizing all of these egregious sex crimes. But another thing that's happening is they are normalizing the beating down of women. And Charlie Kirk has been on his college campus tour, and here's a video of some disturbing things that he has to say.
I'm Addie, and I'm 14. I'm a freshman in high school, and I was wondering, as someone who has a different opinion on college, what would you say the pros and cons are? Because I'm interested in political journalism. And what would your advice be?
Yes, so let me also speak to some of the young ladies here in high school where who's here where your top priority is get married and have kids? Raise your hand. Okay. Interestingly, I think there is an argument to bring back the MRS degree. And no, seriously. And just be clear, that's why you're going to college, right? Don't lie to yourself, I'm studying sociology. No, you're not. We know why you're here. And that's okay, actually. And that's a really good reason to go to college, actually, especially an SEC school. You will find a husband if you have the intent to find a husband at Ole Miss. It's just going to happen, okay? Or wherever. Wow. Yeah, there you go. See?
Okay, so, he mentions the SEC schools, and all of the SEC schools are in the Bible Belt. And all of these states are the bottom-ranked states for people in the United States of America. The state that we're in right now, Oklahoma, is the worst and least safe state for women to live in. And this type of patriarchal pushback that is happening where men dominate everything, men can distribute pornography about children and then go accept awards, and President of the United States can endorse a sex offender. The Southern Baptists just came out and said that they're going to do everything in their power to get the gay marriage amendment overturned. Meanwhile, in the Southern Baptist administration, it is pedophile city. And these are horrific crimes. And you have a cult, QAnon, that at the epicenter is all of this discussion about women being pushed down, children being abused, and this moral depravity and moral duplicity that exists at the epicenter of this MAGA movement that is also entrenched in all of this crazy Christianity that is a cancer that this country has got to reconcile, because that shit is so disturbing. And the way that girl was smiling about that.
And people clapping.
Yeah.
People clapping. But you have to remember that the Christianity movement is patriarchal. Women are to be the support mates, submissives. And I look at this and I think this is also, in my mind, I'm not an expert, but this, women have started to go to college more. They're starting to make more money. Men no longer have the affirmative action of white skin and a penis, and they're mad about it. And that's why, they feel neutered and all of those things. And at the end of the day, it comes down to white men do not want to be challenged in a meritocracy. They want to be able to go further because of the color of their skin and their genitals. And this is gross and it is dangerous. And fascism, there's a component of fascism that requires misogyny to bloom.
You're exactly right. That this is a component of fascism, putting out these macho men and it's important to remind the viewer and the listener that there's nothing masculine or strong about what Charlie Kirk just did.
That's right.
And he has millions of male followers. And this is a moment in American history where everybody has got to stand up for this. This goes beyond politics. These are human rights. Women, the suffragettes, and all the way up to the current time have fought a very long battle, and everybody's under attack. Women, LGBTQIA+, immigrants, and of course, who has always been under attack, and then who always gets belittled for being under attack, are Black Americans. And they are always at the top of the list of who these people browbeat. And so it is so important that these immigrants that voted for Trump, that had their salsa rallies for Trump, understand that you have to join everybody in this fight against the further marginalization of other groups besides white men. It is the fight of our life. It is the fight of this country. This is a human rights issue, and it goes far beyond politics. So those of you who have people in your lives that say, I don't like to talk about politics. And, you're just a liberal. Cut them out. This is the fight of our life. This is the fight of our children's lives. They need to feel isolated and they need to feel the pain of what they're doing because they are voting for this crap that I just showed you, and they're not outraged at all about it. There is zero outrage by the Christian MAGA people about these crimes against children. Zero outrage. All right, that's all we have. Hope you guys are having a good weekend, and we'll see you all later.